Yo, what up, what up? Good morning, GM. But hands, I just find it the time. Yo. What up? Good morning. GM. Monday. August 5th, 2024. Dude, I don't have it in me, bro. What's up, y'all? How you doing, Tyler? How you doing, Mando? I can't even fake this shit, dude. I hate today. How are you guys doing? Fuck.
Traders are born for days like today, my friend.
I am not a trader. Oh my god.
Well, appreciate your comedic relief, at least. Yeah. I think we all need a little bit of that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Black Monday, right? It's kind of Black Sunday.
It's been black fucking every day, bro. This is selling May, go away. It's like it's smelling in January, February, March, April, May, June, July. Now you sell in August. I swear to God, if you guys do sell in September on my birthday month, dude, I'm done. Jesus Christ. Black Monday, Black Tuesday, Black Wednesday, Black Friday. Holy shit. Definitely what a day. Anyways, oh my Lord. Well, we're back. We're definitely here. You know what? At least I get to feel this way in my home. I get to feel this way in my home. Oh, look, I opened the timeline. It says, Wizard is calling for recession being canceled. So I guess Wizard is going to save us. Anyways, it's just another drop in the water, y'all. We've seen this before. We went through 11 weekly red candles on the morning show before. We've been through this shit. Come on, baby. Did you hear what Mando said when we started? She said, traders were born for days like this. But guess what? For all you non-traders out there like me, you know, mama ain't raised no bitch. All right. So we got this. Okay. It's just another drop in the water. They're going to cut the rates. And in the words of the wise Keith Grossman, just texted me. He said, grow a sack. Swear to God. Yeah, he said, when going through hell, keep going. I remember last time he told me that we went on to build one of the most fire media brands in the space. So it is what the fuck it is. Today on the show, today, daily market report. Mando, please, we will need you today to give us the best market report you've given in your entire career as a Twitter Spaces host. I mean, dude, we've hosted like fucking 900 of these at this stage. This is already from our episode 172, bro. So we've hosted at least like 100 of these with Tyler alone. So we're deep. We're deep. And then Tyler's top 100. I mean, dude, if we even get there. I mean, Tyler's top 100. I don't even want to know. I don't even want to hear.
Not great.
I don't want to hear it today, bro. I have all charts closed on my computer. I have not a single meme coin, not a single major. I don't have I have one tab open on my screen right now. It's X and the StreamYard. I guess I'll find out right now what my meme coins are at. Tyler's bottom 100. Tyler's bottom 100 today. And then a new weekly sponsored segment on Mondays. We'll be talking about Arbitrum's weekly update. So I don't know what we'll call it yet. We'll figure it out. You know, Arb's weekly update. What a day to start. Sorry, y'all. What a day to start a weekly update on the Arbitrum ecosystem. Oh my God, dude. I think I'm laughing out of hysteria at this day. I had a great sleep. I woke up to this. My Oura ring gave me 92% score on my sleep. It was the best score I've had since I bought this fucking thing. Right? Well, I thought it was wonderful as well, King. Until it wasn't. But anyways, man, though, you know what? I'm giving enough to you. I already need a break.
Who is the man, macro daddy of the land? Can you dig it?
Yeah, GM everyone. So pretty horrific, I would say, all around. When we closed up on Friday had been not the best week for crypto, but it certainly wasn't like this. Bitcoin was hanging out around 62K. Those are the days. Solana was trading at about 155, I think, 150 to 160. And ETH was above 3,000, like 3,100 area, I think. It had been a little bit surprising that week, just how badly I think crypto had been trading. We'd had a bit of a sell-off in the Nasdaq, but it definitely felt like there were a few things coming together. Over the weekend, things just got even worse, particularly this morning. Now, there's a few things going on, and I'll just rattle through them because it's difficult to work out which is the worst. The first one has been this yen carry trade, which has just been the move in dollar yen. So dollar yen has basically reversed all of its 2024 losses in the space of about a week or less. And basically what that trade is, just to really simplify it, is it's very cheap to borrow assets, or it was very cheap to borrow assets in yen. It was actually 0% interest rates over there. So what a lot of people did globally, they would borrow yen, they would borrow in yen, and then they buy risky assets. So they buy tech stocks, they might buy Bitcoin, they might buy US treasuries, which are yielding 5%. And your only risk there is the movement in dollar yen, right? Because you're paying 0% interest often on the loan. So as long as dollar yen doesn't move more than, let's say, 5% for treasuries, or let's say tech stocks are up 15% this year, or Bitcoin, which is up 50%, or even more, you are going to be fine. Now, what actually happened is it moved 15% in about 4 sessions. And a bunch of people who were borrowing in yen had to hit the eject button. And this has been a multi-year trade. This is not like something that's just been going on. This has been going on for a long time. Sometimes it's hedged, but even the cost of those hedges blew out as well. So you had a big unwinding. And that happened a little bit on Friday. The VIX hit 30 on Friday, which everyone was like, wow, that's a big move, having been low for a long time. And then as soon as Japanese stocks opened on Monday, they went down 12%. So the biggest single move in many different Asian markets for decades. I think since Taiwan, it was like 57 years. Biggest 2-day move in Japanese stocks since 1980s. Very, very big move. And people freaked out in crypto as well. They had been freaking out for a little bit, but that really caused us to go from 60K to 50K pretty quickly. I was actually asleep. I woke up to that. But that is the idea that people suddenly realizing they have to pay back these yen, and also the yen moved as well. So pay back these yen assets and freaking out, having to exit them. So you had like a global risk off in all markets, because this wasn't just in crypto, this affected all risk assets. The Nasdaq futures opened down 6%. It just looked like it was in a really ugly day. And that kind of continued. Now, on top of that, there are a few other things going on the weekend. You had Trump going behind Kamala now. Kamala was ahead in some more of the polls, notably Nate Silver, which made people feel very, very worried. You had reports that Iran was going to attack Israel in the next 24 hours. There've been thought that it could happen on the weekend, but now it looks it's going to happen before Wednesday, seemingly. So people were very, very uncertain about that. You had different firms in crypto liquidating. So the most notable one would be Jump. Jump has been liquidating for a while now. This has not been something that it really hit headlines because they started to liquidate big clips of ETH over the weekend. So they liquidated around 500 million plus of ETH in just a few days. And this is happening on a Sunday. Well, all of this is happening as well. So you get these like really horrific moves. This is one of the things about crypto, is that as it becomes more of a macro thing, it is the one thing to trade on a weekend. And this was a real culmination of a bunch of different people freaking out on the weekend. So a bunch of people getting liquidated, people getting worried about, macro politics. Then you had, specifically to crypto, some people liquidating. And I've heard anecdotally there were a couple of others. So yeah, it just seemed to all come together at a pretty horrific time. This morning, we were selling off before the Nasdaq opened, and then we've seemingly bounced pretty aggressively on that open. So Bitcoin's back to 53K.
Let's go back.
Ethereum is back to 2,400. Solana is back to 127. So about a 10% rise across the board in risk assets since over the last half an hour, really. It had been looking pretty dark before that. Yeah, I don't really know what to say. That was one of the biggest liquidation days I've seen. One of the, like, even I look back at that that 9-week candle in ETH. This was way worse than that, as in not in total move, but like this was none of the candles even came close to what we saw over the last week. ETH erased all of its 2024 gains. All of its 2024 gains, ETH erased.
Look at this.
Yeah, proper movie.
We went to 1900. I must have been. It was like early your morning then. I woke
up at 7 a.m. and that's when it was all hitting. So I think
Solana I got a text from me at 2:30 in the morning saying, the first thing I see this morning is Mando, a text from Mando. Hold on, let me read it to you guys at 2:46 a.m. Hope you guys are all okay. This is a crazy move. I wake up to this shit at 6:55 a.m. because I'm jet lagged, and you know what I do? I pray. I'm not a religious man, and I open CoinMarketCap, and then I was stuck in bed for an hour. I was just like,
I got up and out. Me and Mino, we had an emergency meeting about what we should do, which we made some good calls on. And yeah, look, I think it was just a crazy day. When you see a move out in the VIX is a really important thing to pay attention to, because the VIX doesn't really move.
Because everyone talks about VIX this, VIX that, but I think 99.9% of us don't know what it is, including myself. Like,
just completely simplify it. VIX equals volatility. So the idea that the VIX blowing out to 30, and it's also implied volatility. So it basically indicates that everyone thinks the market's going to go a lot lower normally. It doesn't hit 60 that often.
It went to 65.
Hits 63 or 65, yeah, pre-market. I only remember VIX hitting that level in the weeks around COVID. Like, it would hit that on multiple days. I remember sitting in an airport hangar near, this is how all the banks were set up. So you'd sit during that period, like they put you to like disaster recovery during COVID. So I was like in an airport hangar near Heathrow Airport and just seeing the VIX hit that level. It opened like that. This just didn't feel that bad compared to this. This felt as though a lot of people were offside rather than anything specific. COVID was COVID. People thought the world was going to end. If you track back to what caused this, the jobs missed by 60K jobs. There was an expectation of 115K jobs, and it hit 175. Sorry, it was an expectation of 175, it hit 115K. So we missed jobs by 60K on NFPs, and they didn't cut rates by a quarter point, and VIX hits 65. That is not COVID. So for me, this was nothing like that in terms of how horrific it was. It just tells you how big people are in this trade. And that the unwind, what's interestingly is that crypto, I wouldn't, of all the asset classes in the world, again, I would not have picked crypto. I don't think many people are borrowing in yen to buy Bitcoin. It's been very, very popular to borrow in yen to buy real estate assets, to buy anything with risk, but not really crypto. It's not like a big, you can't even have, like, Japanese banks aren't really lending to a lot of crypto people anyway.
That's why I don't understand what's going on now. Like, I see all this stuff about Japan, and as someone who's not in finance, nor have a background in finance, I'm just an enjoyer of the space. Why the fuck does Japan have so much to do with my bags? Like,
yeah, I've read conspiracies that like someone attached to Jump was perhaps was affiliated to this as well. But to be honest, all this tells me is that crypto, just because it's the only thing that's open on a weekend, people just hammer it. Like when they know they're about to get hammered on tech stocks, or they know they're about to get hammered on their other risk asset, which they borrowed in yen, which is a very popular trade, like in broader TradFi, they just go in and they just hammer crypto. So it's something that makes me a bit scared about with crypto, is that whenever anything happens over a weekend period, it's like, oh, we're going to drop 30%. We're going to drop 20%. Like the last time Iran threatened Israel and send those drones, we dropped 20%. It was like, what is going on here? So I think people use it. I don't claim people. The weekend hedge is crypto now, and you've seen these horrific moves, but it doesn't feel crypto specific. It just reveals the hand that crypto is the whipping boy of global macro when it wants to be. They will just hammer it if they need to hedge. I also think that this sort of a sell-off is the sort of sell-off that isn't V-shaped in terms of recovery though for crypto. Like if I'm sitting there and ETH has just erased all of its yearly gain. I know it's had a bit of a bounce just now. Like people will leave. I think this is a proper, and even the memes, right? People were safe in memes for a while. Like memes are down 50%. Memes are down 50% in like 2 weeks. Mog was trading at 2.3. Right now it's at 1.
That's enough.
Pepe was trading at 1.2. Now it's at 0.6. Like Whiff was at 2.5. Now it's at 1.3. Sorry, like these are.
Bro, last Monday, Solana was 192.
Yeah, I feel like Solana is the first thing that people will buy back. I feel as though this is going to lead to a drop off in wallets throughout the board. Like, why, if I'm sitting there and I've been told, ETH is a great asset. I'm not against ETH, but like that you can just buy and hold majors and you can have exposure to crypto. And then you see stuff like this, you're just like, what is going on? Why do I even own this? Why don't I just own Tesla? Why don't I just own, like I think a lot of tourist style people will just be like, what's the point?
You're right. I have a question. I have a question to follow up on that, but yeah, you're right. I have a follow-up question on that. But Tyler, how are you feeling this morning? What's your rate here?
I'm hanging in there. I remember, the COVID crash in 2021, watching families' net worth drop by like 50-75% in a matter of days, and just being like, well, guess we're gonna keep going to work every day. And I guess that's kind of how I am like right now. Like I'm not gonna retire next month, like that type of thing. Mando's brought up some sobering points, and like I had this idea of a V-shaped recovery, perhaps more on the stock side, just because of like this feels like such like a technical sell-off versus like a true like fundamental. Like we talked about this on Friday. Like it doesn't feel like the economy is like in this terrible state right now, and like this combination of all these different things that happen at the same time is driving everything down. But on the crypto side, and I have to give Darren OX credit. I mean, he kind of called this like a month or so, maybe 2 months back. He's basically said everyone who's been buying has already bought. So who is buy? And it feels like a lot of folks, like a lot of the CT, like myself included, like we've been kind of all in like this cycle, right?
We've been, yeah.
And so now it raises the question of like who is going to buy everything back up. So like I want to say it's going to be V-shaped, but I don't have the backing for how that's going to work. I think there's some macro bullish things to come for majors. I'll give some hope in out there this morning, as I like to do. So we saw like the Morgan Stanley thing on Friday, that Morgan Stanley finally got the green light to start pitching the Bitcoin ETFs. I think for folks who aren't in CT, who don't show up to this space every day and see the panic on the timeline, and who've been wanting to get exposure to Bitcoin, they're probably excited for this dip, I think, right? Like they have a cheaper entry than they did.
What's up, Ando?
My point on this is just that I remember the last time we've had these sort of huge moves, like after FTX. When FTX hit, ETH went from 1,800 to 1,000. Is that right? Something like that.
What is it?
Went down about 40%, I think. That's not dissimilar to this move. Like this is ETH just went down 40%. And what you tend to see is like after these big liquidations, it takes a little bit of time. It's like Jaws. Are you ready to get back in the water? I think majors are the ones that probably recover the best. But I think, if I'm honest, the idea of us going back to like 70K or 60K, I think we have to put, in my eyes, is probably now a post-election. And that's fine. I'm just saying that I think that is a proper wick. Like
it was 20% dip on Bitcoin on the ETF.
Yeah, well, Bitcoin was at 70K on Monday.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
It went down 30%. It went down 30% from Monday to Monday. Solana was at 193. That went down 45% roughly. And
Wow.
ETH was at 3,400.
Wow.
And now it hit at 2,200. So again, around the same. So 45%. So huge moves. And I think the other thing is that the thing that everyone was kind of in as their beta play, which was memes, has just been eviscerated, right? Like, not like they could bounce here, but this morning, what's the first thing you want to buy? For me, it was Solana and maybe just even Bitcoin.
Bitcoin.
Like,
probably Bitcoin, right?
I think it's going to take a little bit of time for people to get back into. Like, I don't want to see a shill thread on the timeline right now. You know what I mean?
People shilling like low cap meme coins.
Dude,
I saw low cap meme coin shilled this morning. I was like, come on, give it a day.
Yeah, this is a wild question for you. And then I've got a follow up for you, Mando. Boys, where are we? Where are we? Where are we on here? Depression? Disbelief?
So I pulled this up yesterday actually to try to answer this question. I mean, it's still, if you're in the Cobie mindset, like the cycle hasn't started, disbelief.
Yeah, I was gonna be my follow up question.
This is the big dip in disbelief.
Is this one? Is this it? This one here? Amanda, what do you think? What do you think where we're at, and what do you think of the Cobie's point? That's saying that this is very similar to 2019. I think Quinn Bernsky had an early tweet end of last year, saying that 2024 is going to look like 2019 with a sharp move up on Bitcoin, going up 3-4x, and then the cycle will start after that. What do you think? Look,
if this is a crypto cycle, it's been one of the worst of all. Well, it's been the worst one by far. If this is your cycle. Like, look at year to date on coins. Right? Every single coin is either at cycle lows or is at all-time lows. Right? There's a very few number of coins which are not don't fit that bill. Apart from Ton, Solana, ETH. Well, ETH at cycle lows, Bitcoin, and a few of the memes. Right? It is been horrific in the top 100. That is not what a normal cycle looks like. So I don't know if this means you can pick a very rosy picture for 2025, right? Trump gets in. Bitcoin, I think, then can go really quite high, and I think Solana and ETH can go really high as well. Particularly Solana, if you can get an ETF trade on the back of it as well. So I just think you've delayed it slightly. So yeah. Your hopium is that you hope for a 2025 trade here. I think if I'm sitting there right now and I'm down a lot, I think have a game plan. Think about right now who is coming in to buy your bags. Like, do you own coins that people are desperate to buy, or do you own coins that if they went up 30%, the holders would all sell? Because I think there's a lot of coins like that as well right now. And extend your time horizon. Like, I'm not saying don't have parabolic ideas where things can go, but I think we're gonna have a slightly longer time horizon. This will be a few weeks of fallout, in my opinion, of a move like that, at least. And my view is also simplify. So yeah, just try and be in things that you really, really like. And I think the worst thing to do here would be to get caught up trying to make it back and trying to like buy gambles, because I think that's what some people will do. And the people, if you're buying somebody else's gamble, that person will sell it on a 30 to 40% rise. Like, if a coin is up right now or is up in a few days, people, really large holders, will be like, fuck this. Particularly in stuff that might not be like multi-cycle. So I be really aware of that as well. It might even feel good today to like, oh, I'm gonna FOMO and I'm gonna make it all back.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't do today.
And then in like 3 days, it will be down 40%. And I reckon Solana and Bitcoin and ETH probably will just kind of be unchanged, or like they might even be higher. So I think it's not that even those memes will never come back, or those small coins will never come back, or those gambles never come back. It's just that these are the periods where people go like, fuck. Remember, there's that classic thing of like how much liquidity there is across all of meme coins, right? Versus the actual market cap of meme coins. Just think about that. Like
Yeah.
people will be like, okay, I need to get out.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I'm in it for the tech. So
JLP, baby, you got to be in it for JLP. It's only down 3% today.
fuck.
I told you to be in there. Everyone got liquidated.
It's
So
not the time to tell me you told me. Son of a bitch. You could.
I had the
Okay,
short
basically-
open, and then I closed it a week early.
Jose,
God.
you're ETH short.
Hold on.
You're ETH short. Bro.
I let the bulls shake me out of my ETH short like 3
He
days.
closed it due to the abuse on the show.
No, I'm so sorry.
I think a lot of people, like when Bitcoin hits that, I mean, fucking hell, a week ago, not last weekend, the weekend before, Trump announced a Bitcoin strategic reserve, essentially. He would not sell
Yeah,
Bitcoin.
but then the Kamala thing happened. Where
70
fucking
days.
everyone said Kamala was gonna win. Everybody got spooked out. Like the whole world is falling. Like there's also like that's not like there's also like civil unrest a lot of places in the world. Europe, what's going on in the UK is absolutely fucking terrible. There's a lot of unrest in America right now with the politics. Kamala also, for the first time, going in front of Trump in terms of the polls, which scares probably the market. Trump just labeled it as a Kamala crash, but of course that's a great time to try to have those taglines, right? Japan, which obviously clearly spooking a lot of people on the market, like Mando, so eloquently explained this to us. VIX and all those big numbers that you guys are talking about. So I'm not surprised that even in Bangladesh, there's a coup happening in Bangladesh. We should have had expert Bangladeshi Ovi on the show today to talk to us.
Brother, I've been telling him about this fucking unrest for weeks. He had barely any idea what was going on. I've been putting on Man in Minutes, being like, there's some shit going on in Bangladesh. He's like, I didn't really know about it.
They're trying to like kick her out or something. It's like a coup happening.
No, she's bad. She's bad. A bunch of people have been killed.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a Bangladeshi like political expert, but I just saw that. It's like every time I open my X, I mean, X is pretty good at also showing you like all sorts of like horrible, like X has become like the #1 fear mongering app in my opinion. Like it's pretty fucking bad. I'm sorry, like I'm not a woo. Like I open X right now, I'll just say it, anti-Semitic as fuck, anti like Islamic as fuck, anti anything remotely happy AF. Like it's just become just like a cesspool of like racism and race bait and rage bait. It's
what gets the clicks, man. We spoke about it on Friday. But were you there on Friday's show?
It was the show. It was me and you, man. I think when we were talking.
This is me and you, yeah. We actually spoke about this exactly on Friday, like this exact topic.
Yeah. I mean, I've watched maybe 10 people get shot this weekend on video. Without even trying to watch. It's not like I searched like person getting shot in the fucking face. I saw some dude stab people in Brazil on my feed. What the fuck do I care? I love Brazil and football. What the fuck do I care about what's going on in Brazil? You know what I mean? It's still being shown to me.
I've got friends who they're just not using X anymore.
It's insane. It's insane. It's crazy. Like I try to avoid it. It's like they're like, oh, curate your followers. Fuck you. I curate my followers. It's just, I'm not saying anything against Brazilians. I like you, Mr. Olivis Blaster in the chat. I'm just saying I don't care to see a Brazilian dad stab somebody else on my timeline. Like
the weird thing is, I saw that exact same video, and I only follow NFT and crypto
what
people.
does that have to do with the price of eggs? Like, I tweet about crypto all day long, and I'm being fed like I'm being fed like something from another place in the world. Like, okay, sure, you can show me some content about the Iran-Israel stuff because I talk about it. I follow it pretty closely because I care, But like, I don't know. It's if you're like, I feel like we are like becoming we are like creating, like radicalizing people on both sides right now on social media in the worst way possible, left and right. Like I actually saw that. I actually went deep in the whole like UK rabbit hole last night for like 2-3 hours. And on both sides, like the radicalization happening from these social. I invite everybody to just like try to spend as little time as possible on social media right now because it's actually really crazy right now. It's there's enough content to make you hate Muslim people, hate Jewish people, and hate white people. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's enough content to make you hate all sorts of people on the timeline right now. But anyways, Tyler, let's talk about your bottom one. See you, Amanda. Thank you for that.
For daily NFT and crypto analysis. Tyler D on Fomo hour calls the kid can't miss.
Great to bash some bears. Yeah, certainly a more sober rundown here this morning. Headline, we saw crypto majors crash 15 to 20%. Biggest single day dip since 2021. Jump crypto seemingly unwinding huge portions of their book. And lighter news brought up earlier, Morgan Stanley has given the green light to its advisors to offer the Bitcoin ETFs to their clients, starting with IBIT and FBTC. Jupiter, they announced their latest proposal to slash the token supply by 30%. That has passed. So look for that token reduction here to come. Blast stablecoin USDB, it briefly depegged during all the chaos yesterday. It hit like 94 cents, but it is back to $1 here this morning. Memes and NFTs, folks, it was a bloodbath. I won't go into a lot of detail here. When I woke up this morning, the top 75 meme coins on Solana were all red by market cap. Top 75 are red. Over on ETH, just one of the top 96 meme coins were green. I have to give a quick shout out to Nero. Nero coin is up 50% on the day to 160 million. So it is clearly the top performer right now. Another meme coin news, we saw PacMoon tease a big move off of Blast. So the timing now isn't great. They have narrowed their choices down to either ETH or Solana. That token was at 4 million here this morning. Over in NFT land, not great. Most leaders down 7 to 15% on ETH. Bitcoin NFT leaders down 10 to 20%. Runes are down 10 to 15%. A lighter headline here, but before we wrap things up, TravelSwap, they shared their yearly revenue numbers on Friday. They jumped from $2,400 in 2023 to $234,000 in 2024. So Love to see a success story on a more red day.
Yeah, big fan. We work with them a lot. They do like all our I had a call with the founder, Eric, a couple weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago, and so they help us a lot with all the bookings, like all the hotel stuff, even flights and stuff like that. It's really good. I think they're launching flights soon. That's not a secret. Like he's been talking about it, but it's really cool. Like they help actually a lot of businesses as well, like B2B, do a lot of this stuff. Sometimes now you have to move team members and stuff like that. So complicated. So it's actually a great company. I was in Germany, and a bunch of our family members like work in the travel industry for some reason. And they were like, "Oh, we haven't seen any applications of crypto in travel." And I actually was talking to them about TravelSwap because I thought it was really cool. And they were like, "Yeah, but there's no way to really make money. I should show them the revenue stuff." But because there definitely is ways to make money. It's funny. I think I was talking to Eric. Is like when meme coins pop, like the amount of people that use meme coins to book travel.
Okay, be in a trip. Yeah.
I think he was saying something like that Pepe is the number one coin used for travels, because that's the one where a ton of people made a ton of cash early on. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, if we think about like the concept of going bankless, which like on days like this, I think a lot of people like that's the last thing on their mind. But like in a future where that is, a real possibility, you need apps like this, right? Like you need apps where you can spend crypto to do things in the real world that you want to be able to do. Yeah. And I feel like there hasn't been a ton. So I think we have to root these apps on, root their success.
100%, brother. 100%. I told him, I said, yo, he's like, I need Ryan Reynolds to be the face of TravelSwap. Like, yo, let me be your Ryan Reynolds, okay. But I think I agree with you. When I had money, I booked myself that first week in Solana with some Zach profits. And it was really cool and seamless and better than hotels.com because connect your wallet is way better than opt-in via email. And that's just a fact.
Yeah.
Like by mile. So that's I like that shout out. I really like that shout. Wait, we're in your headlines. Look at that. We're up 42%.
Rug Genesis, baby. Rug Genesis, one of the top movers.
Are we? That's crazy. I stopped looking at everything across the board. I completely disconnected myself from any price action. We do have
my newsletter every day. I do the top 5 meme coins. Nice. Usually just across ETH and Solana, and I had to put NA this morning.
Oh,
my 10 million is my cutoff. I don't generally report on tokens under 10 million, and there wasn't a single token in green above 10 million.
No, there's nothing right now, bro. There's absolutely nothing. You know what?
Now there's Nero. Nero is candling up. man. Like this is wild on a day like this.
It really is. That's I bought the wrong Cabal coin. Shit. That was the one, the Solana, the Ethereum one, right?
Yeah, the Ethereum. I'm trying to search here. So Pepe.
It was on the back of Vitalik dumping his allocation. Did you see that? So Vitalik was like top holder, and then I think dumped 44 ETH of it. Also, does Vitalik know how to read a room? Like, have you seen his tweet this morning?
Yeah.
Like, I love Vitalik. I don't get me wrong. Like, man's a genius. But like, do you think the first thing someone wants to read when they wake up in the morning like this is, I think people will be surprised by how quickly cross out to interoperability problems stop being problems and we get a smooth. Blah, blah, blah. I copy pasted it this morning. I don't think many people got it.
Yeah, it's being memed a lot. Oh, maybe that was his, in his genius mastermind. He knew the timing was bad. He knew it would get memed, and then it would get his message out amplified.
You're right.
Even further. Terrible timing, but that message is important, right? I mean, isn't that's like the main reason we've been a lot of people have been negging ETH is like the difficulty of L2s and fragmentation. So,
I totally agree with you. The other thing is, I know you report on that. I have not seen these prices since I got into crypto.
Yeah.
That's when I got into the space. When I got into the space, that's exactly what the floor was. Feb 29, 2021. I think the lowest punk was 15 to 19 ETH. And then when I really, really got into the punks, like my first punk was exactly at this price. It's 19 ETH, 50K. So ETH was slightly higher, but that was exactly where I bought my first punk. How low do you think this is going?
I think 50K was like the magic number for a lot of folks. Clearly, we're not seeing like a massive buy spree here. So I still feel like we're probably going to see teens in ETH prices, and then like a lot depends on how low does ETH go here. Like, I think we could see 40, and like if I'm being honest, like where I'm going to pull the trigger, like really move things around to buy a punk, it would be below 40. Like I'm not going to go out of my way right now to try to catch the punk falling knife at 40K.
I'm the same. Like this, look at a punk like this, 24 ETH on the floor. That there's really no buyers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, Amanda was saying it right. You got to think about like who's buying your bags, who's potentially sellers. Now, I don't think like if punks run up 30%, everyone's going to be racing to sell their punks, right? Because we know that it's the long-term holder base. But no one's racing to buy in right now. Yeah. You know what? Like we got shout out to Bored Apes. Bored Apes held up stronger than just about any other major NFT. They're out. They're green on the week.
I think Gordon was tweeting all night, right? Return of Monkey.
I may have missed those if he was, but like there's been this like infamous like our lady's going to flip Bored Apes in 2024, and a lot. I mean. Apes had been the dunking board basically, but they're at 9.3 and they're green.
Still 10 ETH and 8. It's not bad, about a half a punk, little lower than that. ETH in ETH denomination, the prices are holding pretty well on the NFT side, but obviously the dollar value is not the same. What else do we got? Let me see. Let me go through this. I mean. The Pac Moon stuff I thought was interesting. Where do you think they're moving to?
I mean, it's a sign of times, right? I hate to say this. I'm not trying to flood blast, and a lot of good people are building over there, but there's nothing happening, right? Like there's Fantasy Top.
There's nothing happening, brother. There's only Fantasy Top, right? We talked about this Friday. Like I asked you guys, what is going on? Like, is there any? I didn't mean to FUD. I'm like, is there anything going on the chain?
I don't even see the blast influencers really talking about anything, right? I don't think there's anything to talk about.
But what are you gonna like? What even you said USDB depegged for a moment?
Yes, it did. I think last night it got down to like 94 cents. I don't know that. I don't think anything necessarily bad happened. Like I didn't see like any big like liquidation cascades or anything, but it depegged. I mean, the Pac-Man chart does not look great. We've known they've got a team, who's been working and driving this thing forward. Yeah. It's an interesting choice. I actually don't have a strong read if they go Ether Solana. We've seen there's historical success, like the Pups token bridge to Solana, and that is arguably what drove their massive leg up before it fully round tripped. But the ETH meme coin landscape is much more open, right? I think that's one of the benefits of ETH right now. From a meme, if meme coins make it, right, there's less competition versus Sol, where we've got Pump launching 10,000 coins a day, and people hold on to a coin for 3 to 5 days, the longest it seems like.
Well, there's
So I'd bet ETH right now if I had to bet where they go, but I
I'll
think
bet
it's pretty much a coin flip.
I'll bet Sol. I'll take the other side of that for the only reason that Blast is technically on Ethereum. Technically, you know, but obviously much easier to access than actual Blast, because you have to do the whole bridge shit and bridge back and all that stuff. But I wouldn't be surprised if they move to Solana, because it seems like for what they're trying to achieve, like the whole social validator stuff, you know, all this kind of stuff. I feel like, I know it was really X that played with that, but I don't know. We'll see. Anyways, nice bounce on Solana now. I don't know if anyone's watching the markets, but back around $130 mark. I don't know. Would make sense for this cycle, but I don't know. The whole tweet also, like them asking Frank which one to pick. I don't know. I was they're probably picking Solana. I saw them do that. Wow, Pups is 20 mil. That is absolutely what a
That
round.
is max pain. That, if folks don't remember, that hit 900 million.
Shut up, dude. Are you serious?
It hit 900 million, and then I was just doing the classic, like, what's my bag going to be worth if it just doubles from here?
Yeah.
We can say now because we're all commiserating. I had about 500,000 in Pups at the top, and it is worth much less than that. But
Yeah, I had like $500,000, something like that, along those lines. Happens to the best of us. And then, but that's why. But let's see, how are we doing on the info side? I mean, I just retweeted something from Arkham Intelligence, just for people to see, like, we can do the whole like acting down bad, this and that. Obviously, it sucks to wake up to see like your net worth decimated over the last couple of weeks, but Arkham Intel just tweeted, "You guys sold all your coins, but BlackRock, MicroStrategy, Grayscale, Fidelity didn't, and they haven't touched a coin." And you also have Hunter Horsley, CEO Bitwise, talking about how like like not a single one of their. I like this one this morning here by CEO Bitwise. He said, I'm gonna show you guys right now. Where's the zero? He goes, 0 phone calls from clients so far. Know your game. If you're a trader, trade. If you're buy and hold, buy and hold. Nothing changed about the thesis for Bitcoin and crypto today. In fact, one can imagine the moves ahead now that will even be better for the asset. So, you know what I mean? Like, it's like buyers are buying, you know what I mean? And I think that we all get like sucked into the trader mentality, even though if we don't trade, because on Twitter, most of the big CT dudes are like big traders, right? Like most of the prominent voices and influencers are all like actual traders. Some very successful, some not so successful, but still have a large audience. So I think that everybody gets pulled into that mentality of like, I'm a trader, but like, truth is, you just buy and hold. If you, most of the people listening to the show, you guys just buy and hold. So, you know, I think that's probably the best thing.
I was thinking about this, right? Like when I had my corporate job, I think I checked stock and crypto prices like once a week. And like it didn't impact my life. Like I was going to work, I had to go to work every day, right? And if the board was green, if it was red, like my day-to-day didn't change. And I think so many of us on CT just get sucked into this like trading vortex, and like the sky is, just go outside, right? Like the sky is evolving. Okay, everyone's going about their lives like normal. And hey, like looks like we might be getting a little bit of a bounce. And like we asked who the buyers are, the ETFs are buying. Like that's who's buying, right?
Oh my God! Imagine Larry Fink woke up this morning was $1,900 ETH. Motherfucker was like, "Yo,
ETH is 24.20. They've been buying since market open."
Are gobbling up. I cannot wait to see the statistics on the ETFs tonight.
It's gonna be a big day,
I think. I think we may see the biggest inflows in a while for
10% since market. It was 21.90 at market open.
I think today's going to be the biggest day for inflows across the board. Bitcoin and Ethereum. I wouldn't be surprised. I honestly wouldn't be surprised. Like the biggest inflows for ETH was about 106 M in one day. And for Bitcoin, it was like we near the, what is it, $500 million in one day or something like that. I don't know. I'm looking at DGens. I don't think I can scroll down lower than what I'm at now, but I'll call it here. Like I think at least for Ethereum, we'll have the biggest Ethereum inflow day forever. Like this is like This is great. I mean, you have jump out. You have, who was selling there?
They're not out. As I saw it, maybe they sold more overnight. I thought they sold like 50,000 each. So I need to get updated numbers. Don't take those to the bank.
We'll talk about it tomorrow.
Yeah.
We can talk about it tomorrow. But anyway, so let's get over to our last segment. Every Monday from here forward, we'll be giving you guys a little update on the Arbitrum ecosystem. As you all may know, if you've paid attention to Rock Radio, the Start and Decrypt our announcements. We're going to be building on Arbitrum. We are building on Arbitrum. What you guys are going to see roll out, soon. And so they've got a lot of cool stuff going on. We're talking about chains and stuff going on between across the board, between the Orbit chain news, between Sanko, between Zai, between Pirate Nation. I mean, Tyler, what have you been seeing on there lately?
Yes, I think layer 3s have been growing in popularity, and Arbitrum has had a lot to do with that success. And I think some folks out there, like they've heard the term, they may not really know conceptually what layer 3s are. So just to start with the basics, the goal of layer 3s ultimately is to be DApp specific so that a single DApp can perform optimally in a more controlled environment, because you have, if you own the entire chain. So the intended function of a layer 3 network is to improve scalability and efficiency of the dApps, decentralized applications built on top of it. So in theory, I think the end goal, you only want to house one dApp, potentially, enabling it to perform at the highest speeds without the congestion you're going to see on layer 1 and layer 2 networks, where layer 2s focus more on improving scalability and efficiency of the chain they're on top of. Layer 3s are more intended to address issues like user friendliness, efficiency, and functionality. So Arbitrum Orbit has had a lot of success here. They have been used to help build Degen Chain. So Degen Chain was built using the Orbit Layer 3 architecture over on Base. We've seen Zai, designed for gaming apps. That's offering reduced fees and account abstraction, not available on other L2s. I think a big one that's jumped out to me is Pirate Nation. If folks have been following the NFT market at all, like those Pirate Nation NFTs have been one of the steady outperformers. That Pirate token has performed very well. I think it went over 100 million. I haven't been checking it this morning in the crash. And there's CEO. There's actually a really nice Decrypt article about Pirate Nation that I would point folks to who want a deeper dive. He basically says that every major game is going to have its own chain, effectively its own L3. This comes from his experience building games like Farmville. And he said during Farmville, they were operating 64 different databases to keep the game from crashing. They had 30 million daily active users at peak. So when you think about Web3 gaming and the infrastructure that is needed to have that level of success, blockchains are going to need that level of scale. And that is why builders think layer 3s are needed. And Pirate Nation, they moved to Arbitrum Nova from Polygon due to rising gas fees. And then they actually saw issues being on a shared chain on Arbitrum Nova, which led them to build their own L3 called Apex. And I'll read a quote here. This is from the Pirate Nation CEO. As soon as you're in an application with any level of scale, you need to be able to predictably control your gas costs. My prediction is there's going to be thousands and thousands of chains as people split off from these shared L2s to application-specific chains. So I thought that was some pretty interesting insight to me. And I'd heard about L3s, but I guess I didn't totally understand the use case. And when I hear it from him, a proven vet who's had, a lot of success, I think it makes the picture a little bit more clear.
I didn't realize he was on the Farmville stuff early on. I actually tried Pirate Nation at GDC because I went to the Arbitrum booth and they were there. So I was just talking to them and going over it. I thought it was really smooth and seamless. And I know Danny's a big fan of it. And I've seen a lot of good chatter about like the gaming side of Web3, of Twitter, talking about Pirate Nation in good light. Like the NFTs were really performing very well. Look, today's prices don't count, right? Like everything's down across both sides. I'm sure if I show, I'm going to pull up a chart right now, like of Pirate and be like, oh, look at today. But like they've actually done really well. Pirate on that front. And then Zai, of course, like obviously everybody knows we're close to Cobie, but in general, like he was really the one that like made me realize what L3s are and stuff, and like why you would need one. And I thought it was really impressive the amount of BD he's done to be able to bring games over, like similar to Pirate Nation. He brought crypto unicorns over from Polygon as well, and it's like every other week there's a new game being built on there. I know a lot of people want to like discount Web3 gaming because of token prices, because also of a lot of tokens that were not necessarily useful or necessary to the ecosystem, but there's still a lot of stuff going on in that front, and it's still probably going to be a leader in the industry. The other cool thing that I've mentioned that a lot. Like, that was way before we started doing the whole like Arbitrum update on this show. That's the first one, but you guys have heard me talk about Sanko TV a lot. Like, this is something like being in media.
Yeah.
I personally think it's fucking sick. It's ticker sign DMT, which I always thought was funny that DMT was their ticker. Again, I'm not gonna pull up tickers today because it doesn't do it justice, but it's actually something I followed closely before. I'm pretty sure that team was trying to build frames on Arbitrum at some point, if not had built it. I remember once I was talking about how I wish I could stream the show live on Farcaster when shit was hot and they were working on it. So it's pretty much like a decentralized like Twitch in a way. And they've got a lot of cool stuff going on, a lot of activity. And I personally like the whole vibe of it and feeling, but check it out, Sanko.tv. I always thought it was really cool. And a great platform being built by some pretty smart founder. Actually, this is the type of person I would have on the show to come talk about this, because
I think there's a lot going on in Sanko TV, and it's an ecosystem like I've been trying to get more access to, and I haven't buckled down and spent the time. But there's a lot of apps and like that. I mean, of course the tokens are down today, but like DMT was one of the top performing alts. Like it soared. I think it hit like $150 million market cap. So like they've had some strong success.
Yep,
yeah,
they were
slowing down.
It was a pretty loved coins for altcoins for a very long time, and I know for a fact that that those founders are doing some cool stuff. But anyways, look, every Monday we'll present you some cool stuff being built on Arbitrum, including what we're up to. I really like that team, and obviously, like, it's always a pleasure to partner with builders in this industry that are pushing boundaries and pushing the space forward, especially the Ethereum ecosystem, which we love, right? So it's awesome. Anyways, Tyler, we're on time. This was great. We survived this show. I woke up, not sure how we do it, but we did it. Because remember, in the words of the wise CZ, who's watching this from prison, wishing he could buy this dip, he says, if you can't hold, you won't be rich. So with that, we'll see you all tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for another episode of FOMO Hour on Rug Radio. Let's